Hi, everyone. So as Finn said, my name is Jillian Richardson, and I am on a mission to make the world a less lonely and more connected place. Now, total shot in the dark considering the reaction you're already giving me, but can I get a woo if you also share this mission? Oh my God, I'm just like, that just fueled my soul. This is why I love CMX Summit so much, is because we're not just here giving 2 days of our time to learn how to create connection, we're all dedicating our entire careers. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that everyone in this room, we are all people who are creating connection. And from where I'm standing, this is the most important work that can be done right now. And now, I was told before I prepared this talk that everyone in this room is a numbers person. We all like stats. So I have some stats. First of all, warning, they're kind of bummer stats, so they're not gonna be fun stats. So first of all, loneliness is the equivalent to an early mortality, AKA 7 years off your life, as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, being an excessive drinker, or being obese. Now think about how many times your high school health teacher harped on about the importance of nutrition and fitness and exercise, but I'm guessing if your school was anything like mine, they did not talk about the importance of human connection. And that's because our culture doesn't value it, and that's why the work, again, that we're all doing is so crucial. Boop. All right. 22% of millennials say that they have 0 friends. That means almost a quarter of the people between the ages of 25 and 34 believe that they have no social support. And that's wild when you consider that so many of the people that are coming into our companies are millennials. And so it's our job to help them feel like they have a little more support within our company culture. Next, 75% of Americans are not satisfied with the friendships that they have. Also, not on this slide, the average American has 1 friend. So we have 1 friend, we're not satisfied with the friendships that we do have. This is like really not good news, you guys. This is really bad. And also, we're spending 1/3 of our lives at work. And so when I do these talks and I talk about creating connection in the workplace, sometimes I hear some pushback and people say, well, it's not a company's job to create connection and community for your employees. They can get it outside of the workplace. When really, if they're spending 1/3 of their lives there and the loneliness statistics are this high, clearly something is wrong and a change needs to happen. So that's why I'm here today. I'm talking about 3 ways that our companies can do our part to create more connection and reduce loneliness. And they are, as you can see, 1, allowing for frientimacy, which I will explain, 2, creating spaces for mentorship, and 3, encouraging your employees to heal. So, first up, allowing for frientimacy. You all probably recognize this picture because in American culture, we are obsessed with romantic love. If you turn on the radio, it's a love song. If you look at a movie, good chance it's a romance movie. And I just learned this stat recently. 1/3 of the books in the American market are romance novels. We love love so much that there's actually an academic term for it, amatonormativity. And this very fancy definition simply means that we believe that romantic love is better than any other type of relationship. To put it in even simpler terms, we believe that if you put a ring on it, all of our problems are solved and our life gets better. But unfortunately, that's not the case a lot of the time. There's actually scientific studies that show that when someone gets married, sorry for the married people in the room, this might get a little bit uncomfortable for all of you, but that when people are married, they actually give less social support to their friends and their neighbors. And this isn't good because we need strong social ties for our health and our happiness. And if you've ever had a time when your partner is out of town or they're sick and you can't rely on them as much, you need these strong friendships to get by. So, how can we use our corporate culture to create stronger friendships? I have ideas, and I will share them with you. So the overarching idea here is that we need to normalize spending time with our friends just as much as we spend time with our romantic partner. So raise your hand if you've heard someone in the workplace say, "Oh, I need to leave this meeting early. I have to spend time with my partner or my kids." It's super normal to say that. It's a totally socially acceptable thing to say. It's like, yes, you're prioritizing your family. Now raise your hand if you've heard someone say, "Hey, I need to leave this meeting early. I just need to go and spend some time with my best friend." Yeah, not nearly as much. And why is that? It's again because we're prioritizing romantic relationships when we could be prioritizing all of these relationships, because I believe that they're equally important. Some really easy, effective ways to create stronger friendships. 1, offer your employees extended lunch breaks. A few times a month, give them time to just spend 2 or 3 hours really deeply connecting with a friend. And make it clear this is not for career purposes. This is just because you know that spending time with a friend is important to their health and happiness. Next, work retreats with family and friends. It's so easy to say, "Oh, bring your spouse to this retreat." And for some reason, it's weird to bring a best friend. When in reality, again, it's just as easy to bring that person as it is your spouse. And next, I made this one up. I was like, I'm in a room full of people who can do these things. Why not? Bonus friend vacation. We go on vacation, we spend time with our family, we spend time with our partner. When do we go on vacation with just our friends? I know for me, when I go on vacation with my friends, those are the times when I really deepen my relationships with them, and it's a really beautiful thing. All right, next, creating space for mentorship. We're gonna go into some more stats, so I thought it'd be very important to include a cute picture of an older dog and a puppy, because it's like older mentor, younger person. I wanted it to be cute for you all, because we have some more bummer stats. Okay, so 16 million young Americans have never had a mentor. This is a stat from the National Mentoring Partnership. And when I saw it, I thought, their definition of a mentor must be too high. Like, this is a really high bar, and that's why so many people say they've never had a mentor. When in reality, their definition of a mentor is literally just someone who provides support to a young person. So let that sink in, that 16 million young Americans don't think they have any support from an adult. At the same time, like the dog likes that idea. At the same time, almost a quarter of millennials believe they have no friends. There's this huge gap. And those 16 million young Americans who don't have a mentor want one, and they don't know where to find one. So, and at the same time, in work culture, older people feel like they're getting pushed out earlier and earlier in their careers. So this is a photo of something called the Modern Elder Academy by a man named Chip Conley. And he leads retreats for people who are dealing with aging. And when I heard about this, I was like, oh, these must be people who are like in their 60s and 70s and they're retiring and they're thinking about mortality. That's so cool. And then I read an article about his retreat for Silicon Valley employees, and no joke, most of the people on this retreat are in their 30s. Isn't that wild? So, what can our companies do about this? We have these younger people who feel like they're not being heard. We have these older people who feel like they're not being valued. What can we do? So you bet I have some ideas about this. First of all, offering mentorship outside of career advice. Right now, it's really common in the workplace for a more experienced employee to sit down with the younger employee and offer them professional advice. But clearly, that's not working to create the sense of connection and dropping our walls, being a little bit more vulnerable with each other if people really feel like they don't have a community in the workplace. So, I'm proposing modern mentorship. Some still super work-appropriate topics that you can talk about with people. And this includes talking about your purpose in life, your faith, and what you want to learn beyond college. And another thing that I would love to suggest is offering spiritual guidance. And I don't mean spiritual guidance in the workplace, but there's something called a spiritual director. Raise your hand if you know what a spiritual director is. very few people, even in this conference of professional community builders, and this again is wild to me. Most of my friends don't know what it is either, and I'm from a super personal development-y world. So a spiritual director is just someone that you can talk to occasionally about life's big questions, not affiliated with any religion. It's just someone to talk to about meditation, prayer, the universe, whatever you want. And the awesome thing about it is that it's significantly less expensive than one-on-one therapy, and for me, it's provided a lot of the same benefits, so that when you're offering traditional therapy to your employees, offering spiritual directors is another great option. And lastly, creating spaces for multiple generations. So this is a photo from an event that I host called the Joy List Social, and it's an event for New Yorkers to come by themselves and leave with a new friend. And one month, I decided to mix it up by starting with the dance workshop. I love dance. I just assume other people love to dance. And then I saw people come in, and the anxiety on their faces made me pause. And I thought, oh crap, am I about to reduce the chances of connection entirely because people are so nervous about this experience? And then this woman and her 4-year-old daughter walked in, and this 4-year-old girl just starts running through people's legs. She's taking people by the hand. She's dancing with them, and the whole room just like, just relaxed, and people took themselves less seriously. It was so beautiful, and I had this aha moment of, wow, being in a space with a young kid really brings wonder. And then also having older people is a great way to, again, encourage this wisdom sharing that we don't have very often. So for companies, next time you host an event, I encourage you to offer childcare so that people can bring their kids, you can see them in their wholeness, and you can have this beautiful, joyful energy boost of having children in the room. And at the same time, for older generations, extending personal invites to people from your company who have retired and saying that you still value them and would love for them to be there. Because again, for me, the spaces I'm in, they're typically between the ages of 25 and 35, maybe 40. It's super limited, it's not natural, and we're missing a lot. All right, lastly, we're gonna talk about promoting healing. I saved this for last because it's a little bit of deep real talk. Are you ready for some real talk? Hell yeah, great. Okay, so my vision for the future of work is to allow every employee to have access to healing spaces. And I define a healing space as a place where people can access their messy emotions that we don't get to touch very often. And that's grief and anger and depression, these things that we bottle up. And before you panic, I am not saying that your office should be a place where people are healing from childhood trauma. But what I am saying is that you should give them access to spaces that allow them to do this work. And now you might be wondering, what the hell does childhood trauma have to do with the health and happiness of my employees as adults? Now, for those of you who don't know, and I'll explain this in a very simple way, there's something called an ACE score. And an ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experience. These are all traumatic events that happen to you as a child that impact your social, mental, and physical health as an adult. The higher your score is, the lower your health will probably be as an adult, and the CDC has done a lot of studies on this. But luckily, there's also something called a resiliency score. These are factors that balance that out and improve your health as an adult. And the 3 things that increase resiliency are things that I've already talked about today. 1, good friends. That's why I really talk about frientimacy. 2, practicing mindfulness, which I'll touch on a little bit later. And 3, helping others. Again, that mentorship is really coming into play. So, how do we do this? Again, last time I promise, I have ideas. First, really simple, a lot of your companies probably already do this, in-office meditation and yoga. It not only helps your companies be fit, but it helps people connect more to themselves, which allows them to connect more to others. Next, I love this stock photo. Stock photos are so weird. Asking your employees, I was like, who took this picture? This guy is all over stock photo websites. So, asking your employees what kind of programs and benefits they actually want. For example, your employees might really love a circle for the queer people in your office, or a support group for single mothers. And the thing is, a lot of employees won't ask for this because they've never seen it modeled. But clearly there's a problem if there's so much loneliness in the workplace. So what if your company was one of the companies to create a new path and create deeper ways for your employees to connect with each other that they're probably not getting outside of the workplace? And lastly, and this is my favorite one of all, this is the thing that I'm the most passionate about and would love to talk to you all about afterwards, is using your personal development funds for group therapy and group healing experiences. Because a lot of companies offer a personal development budget to their employees, but the problem is a lot of employees have no idea where to go and spend it, and what are effective programs, what are things that work, what are things that they can trust. So, if you go to this link, I have some ideas of spaces that I've been to. There are some men's groups in there, so those are not spaces that I have been to, but they're spaces that my friends have been in, that my friends mentor in, and they're just the kinds of places that I think would really benefit if more people in the world were part of them. So, everyone in this room knows that loneliness is an issue, and sometimes it's harder to think about what the solutions really are. So today I talked about 3 ways. 1, allowing for frientimacy. 2, creating spaces for mentorship. And 3, promoting healing. Again, my name is Jillian Richardson. I'm the founder of The Joy List and the author of Unlonely Planet. If you want to talk to me about any of the things that I said today, you can email me at hey@joylist.nyc. I respond to every message. I'll also hang out in the lobby. But it would be irresponsible of me if I was in front of a group of community builders, I'm talking about connection, and I don't give you all a chance to connect with each other. So, in between me and the next speaker, I invite you to turn to someone who you haven't talked to yet, someone who you don't know, and ask them this question: why are you passionate about creating connection? Thank you.